But in general, for a big thing like this, being heck is fast. Hi guys, Alex Peak Performance Reviews. Welcome to another vlog and welcome to another car review. Today I have my hands on the BMW iX M60 and I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's a full EV car from BMW and it's a little sprinkling from the M division as well, which is amazing. And you don't have to adjust your sets, guys. I'm just going to tell you now, this is 455 kilowatts, which is 610 bhp, so 610 horsepower. So it's going to be an absolute animal, I guess. It's got launch control, does 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, which we're going to test for you, see if we can even better it. Knowing BMWs, you might be able to better it, but with EVs, they tend to seem to do about what they say. But let's give it a test anyway. I'm not going to babble on too much. I'll give you all the range and all the other tech specs and stuff like that, and if I do miss anything, hit me up in the bio. And if you've got any questions, as always, make sure you hit us up in the comment section. But yeah, I've got it in this lovely white colour. Basically address the elephant in the room, looks, but I do want to know your thoughts on it as well. What do you think of the looks? I'll be completely honest with you, when I first saw it, I thought, what the actual hell? In the flesh, a lot nicer. Front, still not a fan. Rear, much nicer. Side profile, not too bad. Looks like a big beefy version of an ID.5, which is an okay thing. In general, alloys are nice, has some nice brakes all round, and in general, quite a nice place to be and a nice car. The interior, I'll talk to you more when I'm on the drive. Unbelievable. But anyway, let's get on and drive this car and let's crack on. Okay, so onto the drive. Before we go into too much about the drive, let's talk a little bit on tech specs and the kind of interior of this car. Like I said in the intro, you'd have heard the interior in this car is, I always say it, second to none, but I actually mean it in this case. Although this is a very expensive car, these kind of start life at circa kind of £80,000. This version, obviously in M60 form, is 110-ish thousand pounds, and about 120 with some extras and everything on the road, so circa £120,000. So it is a lot of money, but then when you think about how much you have to spend on lots of other things, with what you get on this car and the interior spec and quality, it actually doesn't seem as bad, but it definitely is a very expensive car, that's for sure. Lovely place to be. I do like this kind of almost 50 pence piece like shape steering wheel. Really nice. Like I say, you've got a lot of features in here. These bucket seats are like, well, they are like bucket seats, are really nice, kind of diamond quilted leather, really high spec leather. You can smell it and you can feel it. Everything's really nice, and wood finish in here, which has some touch haptic kind of touch buttons as well. But in general, it's a really simplistic way that you operate most things. There's a lot of push button things, which I always like. You do have to go into the sub menu for a few things, but in general, it's really easy to kind of live with and work with and understand and kind of navigate through the different settings and things. But yeah, like I say, there's twin port USBs on the rear seats, on both seats, so you've got an abundance of charging potential and device potential on this car. So there's a lot of kind of entertainment in mind, you know, long journeys in mind, and with that, the range is really good as well. 300 miles real range. Even in kind of urban tight twisty stuff, it will return somewhere close to 250 miles per charge. Obviously it is a battery, again, specs on the bio and into everything and the exact spec of this car, but yeah, because it has a big battery, it does take a good amount of time to charge. However, fast or super fast charging is available and able to be done on this car. But the key fundamentals I'm going to kind of look at today is really the driving dynamics. Obviously, being Peak Performance Reviews, anyone who knows me knows I race, knows I love a dynamic, fun car. And obviously, yes, there's lots of range things, but a lot of people have done the range tests. I just want to know what the key fundamental feelings are towards this car. Like I say, it's very, very high end. It's a circa £100,000 car. Most of them are between 80,000 and up to £120,000 like this one. Flagship, top of the range, 610 horsepower, which is madness. But how does it kind of hold the road? How does it feel? Got a lovely heads-up display system in front of me, which is really, really good. I can kind of keep concentration levels to the maximum on the road in front, which is very important. First things first, the ride is very soft actually, but that being said, the chassis feels like it keeps fairly tight and taut around these really twisty roads, but it definitely doesn't feel as nerving as some bigger cars I've been in that are kind of very luxury based. It absorbs these bumps really, really well. Almost feels quite tightly sprung though, and the dampening is quite tightly dampened, but in general it does a very good job of kind of ironing out these really lumpy, bumpy roads. And there are different sub menus and different settings you can have. It has this active suspension, which is really, really clever. But yeah, like I say, the key thing is performance. I'm going to kind of go and do a 0 to 60 test for you very shortly, but first and foremost I'm going to push on a little bit more around these country roads just to see how good this chassis is, or how it may not be. But it definitely feels really, really good. Let's test the brakes as well. Very nice, really firm. Nice and progressive actually. Some EVs have a really full-on stamp on the pedal, and it just you know, puts through the window. It feels like it, but this has a really nice, lovely feel underfoot. So you can have nice brake modulation. So you've got very nice pedal feel. Obviously, if you do stomp on it, it does go very, very sharp, and that acceleration is unreal. Let's test that a bit more. Now, before we push it on a little bit more, turn lock to lock is very, very long actually. You can't do the racy cross your arms over and get enough lock to lock to go around you know, somewhere that's kind of 45 to 90 degrees. You have to let go of the steering a bit, but let's give it a little bit of a push around this. Feels like it's wanting to understeer. I'm going round and round about just to test what grip we have. It's hanging on, there's no screech. There is. Little tiny bit of understeer, but it's a big car. A little bit of roll around the corners when you push it. But in general, for a big thing like this, being heck is fast. But in general it is really decent. Yes, it does roll a little bit, you do feel really high, but I think the dampening and the springs do pull the car back in after the initial roll. But it is a high vehicle, you have got a bit of roll, and you've got a keep your wits about you. Think about the weight. It's jumping around, but BMW, as always, have done a really, really good job. You know, look, this is not a full-blown M car. This is not an M3, an M4 comp, or an M2 comp, or any of those kind of cars. It just isn't. But as a kind of fast, fun, daily, if you've got the money, obviously, it's not cheap. Let's push it on a little bit more. The chassis is about like I say, it's not unnerving, but you do get a bit of roll. It does feel weird, but there is a lot of grip. The grip is there. It's really absorbing these roads really nicely. The grip is there. Once you get used to that kind of bit of body roll that you do get, I'm not gonna lie. The suspension in general's softish. But it's great fun. It's really good fun and a nice drive overall, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Brakes really good. decently confidence inspiring, and in general a great place to be. I can't complain. Can you hear that, guys? Very Taycan, Porsche Taycan-esque. And yeah, good grip from these tyres. Like I say, it will roll, but the car will really hang on. It doesn't feel nervous. It doesn't feel like it's going to spit you out on the side of the road into a hedge, even though it's got a hell of a lot of power. It really does take the insane power it has really well, actually. I'm impressed. Like a lot of EVs, obviously, yes, we don't need to talk about the transmission, because the transmission, or gearbox should we say, is like most now. There's one speed and one speed only. It's just drive, and once it's in drive, that's it. It's seamless, which is quite nice, because in you know, rural roads and town roads, it's very nice. You're not kind of jumping and jerking, and this is why sometimes these EVs do come into their own, I have to say. And like I say, it's just a really nice place to be. It's very quiet, it's very calm, and then it has that other side, that little animalistic side, which I do really like. So would I find myself swaying away from, say, a Range Rover or something like that, and getting myself into one of these rather than a Range Rover? Yeah, possibly. It's a very different car, and in general a really nice fun prospect, and I do like it. Anyway, let's crack on and push on a little bit more around some of these B roads. Right, we've put it into sports mode. We're going to feel what the modes now feel like. Just to let you know, there is an array of different modes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modes. We've got personal, so you can individualize it to different kind of aspects of what you want, i.e. the steering wheel, the steering, etc. Efficient, impressive, and relaxed. As you'd expect, relaxed is the most chilled, comfortable one, which I'm just going to put it in now. You can feel everything really soften up and slacken up and feel much more comfortable, but we've kind of gone in the expressive mode already, which I've been driving in general, but I'm going to go back into sport so we get the maximum performance, so we can kind of do these tests for you properly and really test out. Definitely feels quicker now. And these roads are absolutely glorious. Good testimony, and it is handling these roads really well. Get the braking done. Push. Lumps and bumps. Lovely. Irons out well. Whoops, it easy. Lovely. No, it does really well. Superb. It is it's a good car. It's a good car. It kind of looks after you and really does allow you to push on a lot and really look after you. Let's do the roundabout test again. Oh, I didn't talk to you about steering feel. Steering feel does weighten up in every single different drive mode, and in sports it's lovely. For an electric car, the feedback and feel is actually relatively weighty, and it is really nice. Again, just going to push it around here, see what understeer we get. Not a lot, actually. It holds on well, starts to understeer a bit, but we're at a reasonably high speed before it invokes into particularly bad understeer. Obviously all-wheel drive. It does hang on really well, and it does feel fun, I have to say. But yeah, it's really good. Obviously there's not a normal engine, but obviously you'd expect response to be super sharp, and just pressing the accelerator on. You can see the front dipping up and down, and the responsiveness from the obviously digital pedal essentially is awesome, and that's the beauty of these EVs. They do obviously have instant response, very linear power, instant power throughout all zones of kind of speed and ranges. I was going to say rev range, but obviously not rev range. but yeah, these EVs do astonish me, I have to say. Obviously this is a huge car at over, I believe around 2.2 tons, and it definitely shifts its weight really well. I think if you had a petrol car with that kind of weight in it, the acceleration wouldn't half be as good, and that's the beauty of some of these EVs. But no, it's a really impressive job that BMW have done. The steering, weight and feel is really nice. Chassis control and feel is really good. Decently dynamic. Obviously it's nowhere near kind of the levels of performance and quality that you get from a fast, low slung saloon car or GT car. It just isn't. However, it is a really decent drive considering its weight and its kind of its height. So talking about range, what have I done? Actually, I've been out in the car for quite some time, and it was 82% before I left, and it's now still saying 72%. So considering how I've been driving it just now, real world range and performance appears to be very good. It's definitely doing somewhere definitely close to what it says its real range is, which is 300 miles. It does have the one pedal braking and regenerative mode as well, and it does that in sport or however you want, and you can individualize it as well. So yeah, it's just a really rounded, all round really good package, and I have enjoyed my driving it. I mean, would I want to buy one for 110, 120,000 pounds? Personally, no. Would I if I had an abundance of money and I was after something fast and all-wheel drive? Yes. I've driven some other cars and they're not nearly as fun as this, and you can spend this kind of money. Look, I haven't spoken to you about all of the amazing things in this car, but I could speak to you for hours about it, and I do need a little bit more time in this car, and I'm sure I will have in the near future. But the quality of the interior, the quality of the levers, the quality in general in here, and the space in both the boot and the rear leg room and height in the rear ceiling room is phenomenal. So it's a really nice large package, beautifully well put together, high-end materials, feels like a lovely place to be, and overall it's a very enjoyable car to, I suspect, own and enjoy. So yeah, that is the end of my video, but yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts as to what you think of the car in general, guys. I really adore it for what it is. It's a very expensive car, I have to say, and would I spend my hard-earned cash on it? I don't know. However, I do think it's really good. Obviously BMW, everything they touch dynamically is really good. It's probably the most rolly BMW I have felt nonetheless, apart from some of the old SUVs I used to do. However, it grips and stays and hangs on really well, and actually it still fills you with confidence. It doesn't seem to want to break traction too much and put you in a hedge or anything like that, which is really good considering its size. But lots of fun, obviously, very powerful, really good. We did do a 0-60 test off camera. I actually only managed to get 4.8, so way off like what the time is, but apparently this does have a hidden kind of launch mode. It may not be that hidden, someone will tell me, hit us up in the comment section, but still really good. It's stupidly fast and really fun and massively practical. If you have got that kind of money, I wouldn't say you'd go far wrong with spending your money, hard-earned money on that. I'm going to do something very different today for the first time. We're going to introduce to the channel, and it's called the Peak Performance Reviews rating, and it's basically a rating out of 10. I'm going to do it in each point increment. It won't be a full number. I'm going to give this iX M60 a Peak Performance Review rating of 8.1. Overall, I really love it. It falls short in a few areas, maybe in the chassis, but look, it's a big SUV, and overall it does a great job, and in general I really like it. Rear looks good, front not so much, but it's all subjective, isn't it? If you like it, you like it. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like, share, comment and subscribe. See you again in the next one. Bye for now.